each week on Fridays, a $250 winner drawn on the third Wednesday of each month, and a $500 winner drawn on January 2nd, 2024. All YMCA memberships are a 12-month commitment. The Y for youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome into the WTIM, your information station. My name is Tim Zalabak. Time now for the WTIM morning show. Thank you so much to our live stream sponsors, People's Bank and Trust, and the Landmark of Taylorville. Let's get right into it here. I got Mike Frericks on the line. Mr. Michael Frericks is the Illinois State Treasurer. And how are you today, Mr. Frericks?
Tim, good morning. A little tired, but that's a common occurrence these days with newborn twins at home.
A common occurrence the past few months it's been, and Mr. Mike Frericks playing catch up here as a few less hours of sleep at night, but not to worry here because there's so many great things going on over there at the Treasurer's office, and you obviously stay up to date on all of them. Let's get into it here. The Illinois First Steps program we were talking over the break sounded super cool. Explain this one to me.
This is a new program that we have unveiled. It works with our college savings programs. We know that if a young person knows they have a college savings account in their name, they're 3 times more likely to go to college. They can use it for a university, a community college, a vocational program, or a technical school. But we also know that when families start earlier, there is more time for it to compound. They're more likely to contribute to these accounts. The state of Illinois has created a seed program where we'll put $50 into the accounts of all newborn children in the state born after January 1st of this year. We know that once you get that object in motion, it's much more likely to stay in motion. Families are likely to put in more, and it's ultimately going to result in better outcomes for those children, but for our state because we'll have a better educated workforce.
That sounds really, really great because oftentimes when you think to start a college saving fund, you're maybe in high school and you're just finally figuring out how much college is really going to cost. But this is really getting into the minds of people early, it sounds like.
If we can reach them early, you've got the power of compounding interest. $100 given at birth is worth a lot more than $200 given their senior year of college or high school. You want time for that to grow. You want to contribute. A lot of families are worried when their kids are born. They're very expensive. Maybe I can't afford this, but we want to get them started. Everyone can give a little bit, and a little bit will add up to a lot with time.
Absolutely. So these are not just regular savings account. Your money's not just going to sit in there stagnantly. It moves around a little bit. How does that money make more money for you?
Yeah, you can invest this money, and all the investment growth is tax-free. If you were to put that in just a regular savings account or a brokerage account, you'd pay taxes on the growth. If you put it into a 529 college savings account and you withdraw it for a qualified higher education expense, and like I said, that can be for a university, community college, a technical school, vocational program. They can now be used for apprenticeships. They can be used for your books, for computers, a lot of expenses. It comes out without paying any tax on that growth. So it really is. If you want to send your kid, give them for a brighter path, it's the best way to save money in advance. You help them save in advance, it means they'll graduate with less debt. Too many kids are graduating with a mountain of debt, and that limits their opportunity after graduation. And that's a problem for all of us as well, because when kids graduate with tens of thousands of dollars in debt, they can't afford to buy a new house. They can't afford to buy a new car. Maybe I've talked to kids who put off starting a family because they can't afford it. Those major life purchases are good for our economy. And when a whole generation isn't making them, that's a problem for our economy as well. So we all have an interest in making sure the kids are saving, getting educated, and carrying less debt.
Yeah, totally. It's really staggering here. 3 times more likely to go to college and succeed when having a fund in place, because that's just going to be a huge relief on yourself. You can focus on your studies and you don't have to worry about working a job. Working a job during college is something a lot of people do, but it really makes things harder on you. And this looks to by the time you get to college, you already have a great amount of savings ready for all the expenses that come with it, it sounds like.
Yeah, hopefully so. I heard that stat, the 3 times more likely. If you're the first generation of your family, it's 7 times more likely to go to college. And I thought, how can money sitting in an account make a kid smarter? How can money sitting in an account make you more successful? And what the study showed, it didn't matter how much money was there. Whether you had $100 in your account or $100,000 didn't really make a difference in your likelihood of going to college. What made the difference was when the kids knew they had a college savings account. Because for a kid, It's about setting expectations. Parents understand this. When you tell a kid, I set up a college savings account for you and I'm putting money in for you, it sends the message that you're smart, you're college material, I believe in you. It also tells them I'm investing in you. And kids don't want to disappoint their parents if they're invested in them. Likely to work hard in high school and get there. Too often kids hear things the opposite. They hear, get those thoughts out of your head. We can't afford that. We are not college people. And if a kid doesn't feel like they're going anywhere after high school, they generally don't work as hard in high school.
food, kids tent, inflatable obstacle course, pedal pull, kite fly, raffles, and more at the 2023 St. Mary's Parish Fiesta, September 22nd through the 24th in Taylorville.
Summer means activity, and if you've been in the hospital or just need a little extra help to get back to being active, Taylorville Care Center can help. Their therapy program and medical care can enable you to recover and return to life. Private rooms are available, and you can have visits from your friends and family to return to being active. Find out more on Taylorville Care Center's great therapy program to get you active again. Call 824-9636. 824-9636. Caring for the community for over 50 years.
Find out all the goods or services provided by DeMichael Floors and more. 1217 West Presser in Taylorville by clicking their icon on the obituaries page of TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Find out about available units at Taylorville's Valley View Mobile Home Park, 913 North Taylorville Boulevard by clicking the Valley View Mobile Home Park icon on the obits page of TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back to the WTIM, your information station. My name is Tim Zalabak, and this is the WTIM Morning Show. We are back after some technical difficulties, and it is good to be back because we have Mr. Mike Frericks on the line right now. He's the Illinois State Treasurer. Mr. Mike Frericks, do we still have you?
You do, Tim. Good to be back. I understand technical difficulties. Our operation is under attack all the time by cyber criminals out there. Every now and then technology fails you, but we work very hard to protect our dollars. And so far, we are batting 100%.
That is really good to hear. We talked over the break. Cyber attacks, not something that I have thought about when thinking about the Treasurer's office, but what a huge thing to be prepared for these days with a lot of scams going around, and people are getting really savvy with technology. So tell me what you guys do and what could possibly happen.
There are cyber criminals all over the world who recognize that we oversee over $50 billion in assets, and that puts a big target on our back. So we have built a strong cybersecurity team. We work with people who are worked with the Illinois National Guard in cybersecurity. People have been defending our country against attacks from our enemies, because a lot of those same enemies are targeting us, trying to break things down. We've seen that in other parts of government have gotten through, but knock on wood, we've made this a priority. It hasn't happened to us yet. That's one of the things I was saying in baseball. If you hit 30% of the pitches thrown your way, you're an all-star.
Mm-hmm.
In cybersecurity, if you bat off 30% of the attacks on you, you're a horrible failure. 99% success is not success, because once they get into your system and they can abscond with millions of dollars, in many cases, it's way too late. You have to be betting 100%, and that's what we try and do in the Treasurer's office.
I can love me a baseball analogy right there, because yes, 300 batting average in baseball would be great, but not against cyber attacks. Got to be 100% over there, and that's a hard thing to do. So it's really, really good to know that you are cyber attack free over there and are constantly on the case with it, just fending off it, because it can really only get worse at this point.
Yeah, in the basement of our room of our building, we have set up an incident command there. We have a big board that shows where attacks are coming in from around the country. They're constantly coming in. They are getting very creative about how they do this, and so we work with other cyber criminal experts around the country to figure out what the latest attacks are. When someone feels this, we share information because they're constantly trying new ways to get in, and you always have to be one step ahead of them.
Absolutely. I can't imagine how hard that must be, but you got the dollars in the right place. You got the right minds on the job for that, and keeping the $50 billion worth of assets. I make a face when you say that, because that's just such a staggering number right there. But yes, a massive, massive responsibility there. And just someone with a few clicks of a button could really throw things off for the Treasurer's office. That's a scary thing to think about. So really, really, really cool stuff there with cyber attacks. And you guys are staying safe over there. Cool to move on to a little something else here. We only got about 2 minutes left, Mr. Frericks.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's talk about the ABLE savings accounts, because these always interest me. Tell me a little bit about these.
Yeah. So a lot of your listeners will know about our college savings account. We call 529 accounts. You put money in, you invest it, the growth is tax-free. Every parent wants a brighter future for their kid, but sometimes parents have kids with severe disabilities. And they know their kids aren't going to college, but they want to have a brighter future for them. But there are problems involved with them saving for their future. If they're getting federal benefits, those federal benefits are means tested. Well, that means they can't have more than $2,000 in assets or they lose their benefits. So we set up a 529 savings program. You can put money in just like college savings. You can invest it. The growth is tax-free as long as it's used for a disability-related expense. But the really amazing thing is you can save up to $100,000 in an ABLE savings account without losing your kids' federal benefits. And that means that families are able to make better long-term plans for their children's future.
Just a huge benefit there. When you hear $2,000 until your benefits lost, that's not a lot of money at all. But with the expenses that go into a person with a disability, it can be quite a bit there. So this is a very, very great program that you guys offer here. We got about a minute left. Any last words about the ABLE program?
Yeah, we set this up when we came into office. We've been up and running for about 7 years now. And a lot of families would benefit from this. I've just heard all kinds of horror stories about parents who had to cut their children out of their will, wouldn't let their kids work because it threatened their benefits. Well, there's an answer here. Every now and then, government gets things right. And so if any of your listeners know someone with a disability who might be qualifying for federal benefits, we encourage them to go to illinoistreasurer.gov, click on ABLE, learn more about this great tool to help give your kids a brighter future.
Perfect. Mr. Frericks, thanks so much for sitting down with us today.
Thanks for having me. I look forward to talking to you next month.
Yes, sir. Me as well. This has been the WTIM Morning Show. Thank you all so much for listening.
Your information station, WTIM.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.
Exchanged for 5 Iranians detained by the U.S., 5 Americans who had been held by Iran are now back home. The prisoner swap also included the release of $6 billion in frozen Iranian assets, and critics say that sets a new bounty for future detainees. President Biden in New York City. He's about to address the United Nations General Assembly.
The president will be closely watched for his comments on Ukraine as well as China and Russia.